Welcome to episode 1 of the Elite Question Askers podcast. I am Jayson Wells. I don't even want to introduce y'all. Y'all introduce yourselves. We got to come up with something. So I am Jayson Wells. Who next?
Go, Mo.
Beauty before age.
I
am Mo Williams.
Dedrique Taylor bringing up the rear.
That man, pause. That man just went straight.
Don't say that.
Oh, yeah, this is uncut. This is what you get right here. We work with 18 to 22-year-old kids. We are well aware of Paul's moments. It's all good. Hey, careful what you say on here. Look, episode 1, we are literally titling this Who We Be. This is an introduction to who we are. But rather than just the typical introductions of my name, where I'm from, how long I've been doing this, we are going to introduce you into our world. The three of us, when we talk, we start off our calls with what we call fist bump moments. And a fist bump moment is just kind of like the best part of your last couple of days or the best part of your week or whatever that is. But ideally, in a way that's not typical. So we are all in the athletic space. Mo and DT are actually head coaches. So it could be about a win, but more importantly than the win, maybe it was the fan engagement from, on campus, or the support that you have that didn't used to happen. So more than just the superficial, stereotypical stuff that we typically talk about as men, as coaches. So that's going to always be our first segment, fist bump moments. Fellas, I'm going to throw it at you. Who want to go first? Fist bump moment for the week.
Man, I'm going to take that.
Let's get
Take that again. Age before, or beauty before age, or however it goes, whatever.
Yeah, switch his whole joke up.
Yeah. But for me, I actually told you this earlier, man. Just really been enjoying my space as a father recently, man. It's been some interruptions in my daily schedule. We had some snow out here. For those of y'all that don't know, I coach in Maryland, and especially on the eastern shore of Maryland, we don't get a lot of snow. So when snow falls here, the world stops. And that's kind of how it is. But during these interruptions, instead of my life being inconvenienced or, hey, this is a challenge, I really enjoyed the pauses of being able to be a dad. And from silly children TV shows to playing with dolls to doing hair, like I really enjoy that time in that space. And being back in the workflow today where she was able to go back to daycare, like I legit missed her. So fist bump moment for me, man, was just, we got a big game coming up. It's obviously a busy time for college basketball coaches, through all that, really enjoying the space I've been able to have to be a father. And especially because during this time of year, sometimes I could be more locked in to want to watch film or get my team prepared. So fist bump moment for me, man, is just enjoying the space I've had to be a dad and really being present.
My guy, fist bumps.
That is definitely a fist bump moment. I don't want to go second, but I guess I will, because mine has to do with, ironically, a loss. We took a loss on Saturday, and I want to see how we were going to respond after a loss. Are we going to be bickering and, infighting, or are we just going to respond the right way and get back to what we are capable of? And I thought yesterday's conversation, yesterday's meeting, we were definitely headed in the right direction. The telltale sign will be when they throw the ball up on Thursday, but it's also funny how those moments of a loss, how much growth are in those situations. And I feel like our team is understanding that, and hopefully we can respond the right way. But no, I don't appreciate the loss. No, I don't like losing, but I think there's an opportunity for us to improve and an opportunity for us to get better. So that's my fist bump moment, to see where we are, how we can respond.
My dude, I am going to go fist bump moment. First off, man, being on here with y'all is a fist bump moment. We've been talking about this. Quick backstory. This actually started as a joke. The Elite Question Asker started as a joke with Mo. making jokes with me about the way and the type of questions that I asked. And then next thing you know, we ended up in a text thread. And now look at us. Mama, look at us now. So Elite Question Askers, all live 2022. So yeah, man, for real, that's a fist bump moment, is just being on here with y'all and bringing this together, knowing the different people that we have connections with. And I feel like the people we're going to serve with that, more than anything, the impact. Yeah, you guys know me. I'm all about the impact and the people that I can touch and the lives that I can affect. So big time moment for that. I'm excited to continue to get to my number. My number is 77 million. So yeah, that's the first part. We'll start every week off with our fist bump moments. And then we will move into our section called our Ignite question. And our Ignite question is going to literally ignite our conversation. Today is light. We are getting to know each other, allowing you guys to get to know us. And so today's question will be tapping into our musical preferences. And the question is going to be, fellas, what's your first concert? What's your best concert? And why for the best concert? D, how about you go first, bro? And then I'll go second. Mo, I'll let you think over there, young fella.
Definitely I will go first and be happy to, but I want to go back, and you said your number is 777 million.
Yeah.
Explain to us what that's all about before we get.
The first thing I'm gonna do is correct you. Just 77 million.
Oh, I thought you said 770 million.
Yeah, nah, it's all good. It's all good.
Clarification.
This is the first question on here outside of Jayson asking it. So there you go.
Elite Question Askers. 77 million is really intentional for me, bro. So really simply put, there are roughly 7.7 billion people in the world, and 1% of that number is 77 million. And kind of how I navigate through impact in the world, how I show up in the world, the value that I bring to the world is I just want to touch 1% of the world. So rather than focusing on how many people aren't like me or how many people got different mindset or aren't ready to be in this space or wherever that shows up, rather than focus on them, I focus on and I attract the 77 million, of which I got 2 of them on a podcast with me. So yeah, really intentional behind that number. That's 1% of the world's population.
Yeah, I love it. The intentionality behind controlling what you can control, I think, is extremely powerful. And obviously we'll get into that. But I think the question was, what's the first concert you ever been to?
Yeah.
Man, you know, I was going to concerts before Christ was born. You know what I'm saying? I'm that old. so my concert, the first one I went to, I think I was in high school. I might have been a sophomore in high school, and I went to the Coliseum a concert at the Coliseum. I think it was sponsored by a beer company. I don't remember who it was, but some of the artists were like Guy, Ice Cube was there. It was an unbelievable concert because it had an unbelievable lineup. And I think Guy had just hit the stage, and it's in the LA Coliseum. And you know how LA people do. We never seen the end of the concert. They start fighting. Police start rolling in there with horses and trampling on people. And we running out of the stadium, trying to figure out what's going on and how it's going on. But that's my first concert. The best concert, man, that's a toss-up between Prince and maybe Jay-Z. And I will say those 2 guys, man, it's hard to pick between those 2 because of what they did and how they did it. It was impactful, to say the least.
You got to see Prince in concert?
Multiple times. Whenever he was in concert, I was trying to do whatever I could to make my way to go see him. In fact, I saw Prince in Portland. I saw him multiple times here in Los Angeles. I saw him in Phoenix. I saw him in Reno. With Jay-Z, I saw him here in Los Angeles, and the next night he was in Phoenix, and I flew over to Phoenix to see him back-to-back nights. So I guess maybe I am infatuated with what those dudes do.
Somewhat groupie-ish, but okay.
Yeah, I mean, no, I wouldn't say groupie-ish. I would say man crush maybe, but I wouldn't.
Okay.
So would you look him in the eyes or no?
Hey, you know what's funny, man? Like, seriously, now we're getting off topic, but I
Yeah,
met Prince.
Ain't no topic. This is the topic.
I met Prince, and all I could think about was the Jamie Foxx. I didn't, when Jamie Foxx met Michael Jackson, or maybe it was Martin. Martin met Michael Jackson, and he wouldn't look him in the eye. I never looked Prince in the eye for that reason. That's all I was thinking about. Like, no,
I think it was Jamie and Prince. It was Jamie and Prince, wasn't it? He said, "Don't look him in the eye."
And I never did because I remember Jamie Foxx.
Yeah, damn, that's it. There it is. My first concert. I'm really not a huge concert person as far as number. First concert I do remember, hands down, in Atlanta, Chastain Amphitheater. It was Floetry before they blew up.
Mm-hmm.
Angie Stone. And Jill Scott, Erykah Badu was a double headliner. Yeah, they go to Patented DT Shimmy for those of us that can see us on YouTube. It was. You say what, Mo?
That's a good lineup right there.
Yeah, it was fire. And Chastain is an outdoor, you know how they do the little semi-outdoor joint. It was really, really, really cool. Floetry, it was just blowing up. Angie Stone was already hot a little bit. And obviously with Jill and Erykah as co-headliners, it was all the way off the charts. So that was my first concert. And then best concert, man, I kicked myself because I never had the opportunity to see some of the greats like a Prince or MJ. But yeah, I did get to see Hov and Beyonce on the run. And I think I was more enamored with the fact that they was selling out football stadiums. And the product was awesome. It was really cool. Obviously, they got some cuts, they got some jams together. But yeah, I've never seen Hov solo, but I have heard that Hov solo is not a great show. Really? That's just what I heard. It's just what I heard.
I'm gonna reflect that and put this in your ear. It's one of the must-see concerts before you leave this earth.
Who was that?
Jay-Z.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Why you say that?
Just because of the theatrics, the lyrical genius that he is. It's live music. It's not a track. There is a DJ there, but it's just the intentionality behind his production of the music.
Yeah.
The artistry. And obviously from a lyricist standpoint, man, it'd be hard to argue that he's not one of the best.
Agreed. Mo, bring us home. What you got, man? First concert, best concert.
Man, this is gonna be one of the shortest answers I got for you, brother. I never really been to a concert. You know what I'm saying? Like I kind of hit that era where, like, I don't know, like concerts were really that popular. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't really get into that. I would say for me, I'm a big into comedy, as you guys know. So, you know, I've seen some very good live comedy. Like Bruce for the first time was great. It was crazy how huge he was in person.
Physically?
Yeah, he's a big dude, man. Ari Spears with his like different impersonations. Jay, you'll appreciate this. Gary Owen, obviously Gary Owen, the white guy that's usually in. Yeah. So he's from Cincinnati. Ricky Smiley, I've seen. And then D.L. Hughley, I've seen live. But as far as concerts, I don't really have that, like, seeing the Michael Jackson, the Prince story was cool. I never really seen that. Obviously, like, I got a really good friend. I am gonna plug him here. Shout out to my boy Nana Be Cool. But I've seen him. Him and I grew up together. I've gone to see him perform. But like outside of like seeing Jay-Z or something like that, I've never gone.
Gotcha. Mo with the first curveball of the podcast. You know, we said concert. We did not say music. So yes, let me see where I think that's about right with timing, because I got this set. We're gonna do fist bump moments and ignite questions, take us through about 15 minutes, and then we're gonna jump into the content of the episode. And again, the content of the episode today is literally an introduction to us, to who we be, to who we are. Me, myself as Jayson, Dedrique, Mo. So I know it seems like I'm asking the questions today, but this will not be the typical theme of it. And fellas, y'all got the notes right here. If y'all want to just throw me off right here, y'all feel free to ask the next question. I would love to not be the voice behind this. Y'all, what y'all gonna do?
Ask the elite questions himself for a question.
Yeah.
Nobody knows who that is. So go ahead. Bro.
I need to hear the question, bro.
There's no we waiting for you to ask it. I know you got about 600 in your phone there.
Yeah, I'm actually reading this whole, he told us to go to these notes, so I'm sitting there trying to pull out these notes.
We ain't about it.
But you know what? I could pull away from that. I could ask you a question.
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Forget the notes. You know what bothers me, fellas, is, and Jay, you kind of sprung into action on this and jumped right on Twitter. I don't know. Actually, y'all, I know y'all seen this. Y'all ever seen the movie Blank Man with Damon Wayne? Yeah. So like Jay is like Blank Man when it comes to people trolling on Twitter talking about this generation. Like he just gonna go. And I love it because I think some of your purpose is birthed by what annoys you and what your greatest pain is. So my question for you guys is this. When you hear coaches bash millennials about them not being tough, or this generation is soft, or just basically making it seem like this generation is the problem with what's going on in the world, what is your response to that?
D, I'll go first. I'm gonna start you because you got administration and all that. I ain't got nothing. It's cool to be on here because we, DT and I are somewhat close in age. But Mo, you being a little bit younger, I think the easy thing for us is to always talk about this generation. Call them soft, call them entitled, call them all these other adjectives we do. But my question always reverts back to who raised them. Mm-hmm. We did. And, we talk about this in our other platforms that we're on as far as the men's group and one-on-one calls and all this, but every previous generation could typically say that they were soft. Like our parents could easily say that we're soft because we didn't go through civil rights and, all of the different things that they had. Our parents, I remember very, very vividly stories. Every story started off with, man, I had to walk to school 37 miles in 3-degree wet, you know what I mean? And we soft because we didn't have to do that. So technology and different advancements in every area has allowed this new generation of young person to have things and be accessible to things that we didn't have. And I think it's real easy for us to talk about soft, entitled, and every other adjective we can come up with. And at what point does that point back to us? As the parents, as the coaches, as the teachers, we just gonna sit here and keep telling them they ain't shit? Or are we going to do something to step into what we doing? Hey man, this is Mature Mondays on TLSC Radio. You gotta make that face, bro. And apparently, that was just the tip of the iceberg. Let's go. The Pandora's box is open, DT. Let them have it, son.
Oh, we got Reverend Mo on here, so they ain't gonna see none of that from me.
Nah, chill out with that. Chill out. But I'm serious. Like, why does why does there have to be a struggle associated with somebody being determined as tough or not tough? Even you saying that it was some type of like, well, my struggle was worse than yours. Mm-hmm. Like why does that what does that have anything to do with somebody being able to be tough or not tough? Like, I feel like that's what people use at times. Go ahead, DT, my fault.
No worries. I think there's a historical context and a historical value with comparing yourself to other generations and comparing yourself to other people. When the reality should suggest to me is, okay, these are the factors. And the factors include all of those things that you just said. To me, at the end of it, the equation is, how can we intentionally be productive under those circumstances? whoever's soft, whoever's tough, whatever. It matters to me none. I got to find a way to play, as our parents said, you play the cards that you're dealt. Hey, that's who we got. I got to find a way for us all to be successful, us all to be productive at the end of it. And so that's what I choose to focus on. I don't necessarily, so what? It's easy to identify a problem, but it's extremely hard to identify or bring about a solution to said problem. And I think the easy thing to do is say, hey, well, they're soft and they're this and they're that. And it's like, okay, they are. What are you still charged with trying to accomplish out of those things? And again, it goes back to, I think it was said at the onset of this call, the intentionality behind what it is that you say and what it is that you do. And in my opinion, I know we've had separate conversations in regards to those words. Yeah, those words, they upset me, they piss me off, so on and so forth, because I don't associate with them. I associate more with, I want to be productive within this space, so that you can say a lot of things about me, but you can never, in my opinion, say that that dude is not trying to be successful and he's not trying to make others around him be successful, in spite of the fact that they're this or they're that. And I mean, one of my 7th grade teachers, he said this, and this is crazy. He said, man, they talked about Jesus, the most perfect man that we know. So what makes you any different? So what they talked about your mama? So what they said that you're soft or these things? Show them that you are productive, in my opinion. Find a way to attract your attention and focus on that, not get caught up in all of the things that to me appear to be easy.
Mo, what's your thoughts on it, on your own question?
I think it's important, and I've really noticed this as you and I's relationship has grown. It's important to define common use things. You know, like I challenge people that say that somebody's soft or not tough. Well, what is your definition of tough? What is your definition of soft? You know, I believe that simplicity leads to success. So I want to make things as simple as possible. So for our basketball team, we're talking about basketball, or my players who I've been blessed to lead and shepherd, to us, if I say the word toughness, they all know is when doing what you have to do becomes doing what you want to do. So, you know, I wrote this earlier on Twitter earlier this morning. Like, we get the word committed. We use the word committed way too much. Like, commitment is really inconvenient. And, you know, for us, like toughness, like I don't feel like boxing out that 230-pound guy over there, but I know I have to. And how I become tough is when I want to do it. You know, not because it is hard, but I want to do it because I know the benefits of it. And it's our job as educators, at least that's how I view our job as parents or educators, to define commonly used things. I don't think kids have changed at all. I think the parenting and instruction has changed. And there's more noise in today's world, but there's less accountability from the people that can change it to be able to step up and really help these young people. And that's, at the end of the day, like, that's what every coach or that post you and I are talking about, that's really what they're talking about. Like, man, he's not able to push through adversity. Okay, you got a great opportunity with a scoreboard and a ball every day to help change that. So if you ain't doing nothing to change it, then what are you doing? No personal accountability. So
then become, are you soft right along with them? By you calling them out, really calling yourself out.
I think that's valid.
Gonna get our air horn going on. Hey, yo, we're gonna intentionally point out these moments of more than a tweet moments. Mo said, simplicity leads to success and commitment is really inconvenient. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Say that again and let that sit in.
And so here we go. I know we got valuable airtime. We are airing on an online radio station where airtime is valuable, and whether it be the question that's asked and the moment of reflection that it takes to prepare yourself to answer it, or whether it was somebody said some fire and we just need to just let that thing just marinate. Don't be afraid when you hear 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 seconds of silence, because especially with the three of us, it could very well be intentional. So we like to call it searching for silence. So, you drop some bombs, you drop something, you might just sit there and might not need a response. Why this podcast, fellas? Why? You guys are head coaches. You guys are, in each of in the industry, that's as top as you can go, head coach of your own program, yet you take out time of your already full schedule to do this on a platform. Why?
I'll jump in there. It's because I'm attracted to what you guys are about and what you stand for. And I look at this opportunity, this platform as space to provide change. It's not to change anybody, it's just the opportunity to provide the space that allows change to happen. The information to whomever is listening, if it just makes them pause and think deeper or think further or think about their service or think about their impact, or think about how they can move in a different direction that they may have not been thinking about previously, that's the reason. And as much as we want to talk about the X's and O's, I don't know that they're important. I think it's more about the people and providing them with information that they can utilize to their benefit to, again, find a way to be better.
I just cannot Mo, just before you, more than a tweet. Do you say we're not here to change people, we're here to create the space that allows change to happen?
No, you're doing it in third. You're doing it.
That's the Jay Wells shimmy. I can have my own. My shimmy ain't got to be like your shimmy, dog.
You all over the chair, making the chair.
It's all good. It's all good.
Neither of you I could tell are Kappas. So
hey, that is not it. Don't do that, dog. You gonna do that. Don't do that. People can see us, bro.
We're gonna get in trouble. We're gonna get a letter.
That was the real deal.
This letter.
Hey, yo, shout out to my Indiana State teammate D Stroud and all the other members of my freshman and sophomore year teams. Man, we used to step around. We were so cool with all of the frats. We used to step around the parties, and we gave ourselves a frat name. We were Alpha Omega Hoop Squad.
Nice.
And no exaggeration, we would step around the parties and, like, especially on the yard, we were smart enough not to do that shit nowhere else, but on the yard, like, they would literally, the frats, they would wave us off like, man, look, man, they wild, because don't do that, D, don't do that. Come on, man. Mo, what you got? Why the podcast, bro?
Man, you ask why, I ask why not. Again, this is a space of questions, so I'm throwing it back at you. Why not? Don't answer it. Let it marinate. But I say this, I am sharpened every time I talk to you guys in some type of way. I feel my time is as valuable as my money. So my 10 o'clock to 10:30 is devoted to the weekday, to DT. We can talk about basketball, we can talk about whatever, and that's my time, that's my money. Every Tuesday with you, that's my time, that's my money. Every Sunday, that's my time, that's my money. Got access to you whenever I want. That's my time, that's my money. So I say that to say this, there's so much content that's shared within us that I feel if we're not sharing it with the world, we're missing out on an opportunity. Let's face it, like DT, people can turn on ESPN Plus and see your coach, but this is a side or a space for you where, they get to hear what me and Jay get to hear all the time. you know, and vice versa, and doing what I do. So I just think it's needed, man. I think we are supposed to be different. You know, we are supposed to provoke thought. And if there's something that's on here when anybody presses play or is listening to this radio station, you know, we just hope it's valuable content. And it makes me excited that we got the space to do it.
I know if I'm answering the question, I know for me, it's everything that both of you guys said. And I just think it's imperative that as men, as Black men, as fathers, as coaches, that cats that look like us, whether they do what we do or don't, I think it's important to know that there are platforms available where we can get together and talk about more than cars, girls, and money. You know, where we could talk more about the stuff that we deal with as men, as Black men, as fathers, as, you know, all the different ways that we show up. Yeah, cool, we could chop it up about sports, and that becomes easy. You know, we could sit here and we could talk about who the GOAT is, or you know, Tom Brady, or, man, did you see I Am Athlete or the Pippet today? We could sit there, we could talk about that all day. We could talk about 15 years ago, how many points you scored and running up and down the court. But Mo, do you have a bunch of spaces where you can share, yo, man, a fist bump moment is my patience growing with my daughter? You know, D, you really being able to say, because they put that microphone in your face at a press conference at the end of the game, and you can't necessarily say, oh man, I'm really excited about to see how we learn from the law. I mean, you can and be politically correct, but also in this environment. So I think it's imperative that we be mirrors. We be mirrors for not just the guys that look like us, but ladies, guys who don't look like us, people who may not be in our age brackets. Because I think at the end of the day, although we may show up physically with some similarities, we also have differences. And I think the one thing that's overarching, challenging with the world is that we are choosing and seeing our differences that show up everywhere. Differences are everywhere. Black, white, short, tall, pray, vote, you know, love, all these differences show up. And I think we are allowing our differences to divide us. And I think at the end of the day, once you are curious enough to listen to somebody, especially somebody that may show up differently than you, once you're curious enough to listen to them, you might actually and probably gonna find yourself connected to them. And once you connected to them, probably don't matter who you choose to love or who you voted for or any of the other things. So yeah, I'm just excited to let people hear what we talk about.
Yeah.
That's an elite question.
Yeah, please.
All right, this one's good because we talked about it before, and I think it's good for people to hear it. Why are tears with men associated as soft?
Damn, son, episode 1, you just gonna this it. Bam.
That's what I'm talking about.
We're talking about being soft.
Get the pilot. This, you know, the pilot, you gotta tease your way. Am I gonna like this shit? Am I gonna watch this shit again? No. Straight to it.
Man,
should we save it?
No.
All right, my bad. I didn't know.
Let's get it. Let's get it. You want me to go first?
Please. It's your world. I just live in it.
It's funny, man. You talking about, as I look back, you talking about a kid who I can remember being that kid that showed his emotion and often showed my emotion through tears. And it's funny because, you know, when you're young, you know, middle school, young, 10, 11, 12, you know, you just got a bunch of badass kids that, oh, you're a crybaby, you know, you don't really know how to process that. You don't know how to, you know, none of that. And then you get a little bit older, early high school, middle high school, and, it's less of the teasing, but still a bunch of confusion. Like, what's, like self-doubt. What's going on? And then as I started to get a little bit older, I started to realize, if I cry, you better leave. You better give me some space, because ain't no telling what's gonna happen next. And that's when I, obviously now being 45, getting a bit older and understanding now that feelings are simply information. And tears, goosebumps, that feeling we get in our stomach, those are all like our body's physical ways of telling us, this is something that means something to you. Like, you talk about passion. You get goosebumps about the things that you're passionate about. You cry about the things that you're passionate about. You get that queasy feeling in your stomach about the things that you're passionate about. And so if I tap into what I just said of feelings being information, like, what are these tears and what are they telling me? What's the story associated with them? What's the experience associated with them? What is it? Why is it that every time I watch a Make-A-Wish snippet on ESPN, I cry? Because that's something that I care about. I care about people. Why is it that anytime I watch a movie about a team that's overcoming adversity, why is it that I cry? And I don't care if it's Remember the Titans, which is one of my favorites, or Miracle, which I got no attachment to hockey at all. But, overcoming that adversity, it's because I'm all about teamwork. I'm all about togetherness. I'm all about overcoming adversity. So the content of the movie becomes irrelevant. It taps into my emotions. And so, yeah, man, at 45, and as a dad, I'm not asking my sons what we were asked, or what we were told, which is stop all that crying. I'm more asking my sons, if they get to that point, son, what you crying about? What's bothering you to the point that you're this emotional? Let's talk about that, as opposed to me just telling you to stop crying, because then you just become a man who don't cry.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that in terms of being aware of those emotions. Like, there's a reason why we have emotions. There's a reason why we learn about what those emotions are. But to answer your question, Mo, it's almost taboo. Once we learn about them, it's almost taboo to express them. Whatever it is, whether it's joy, whether it's sorrow, whether it's tears, whether it's, you're excited and elated about whatever just happened. We're given, in my opinion, those emotions for a reason. It's to do just what Jayson said. It just provides information. And I think it's important for us to, one, be aware of those things, and two, explore them. What does that mean? What is that telling me? And be okay with the end result, what you find. Again, I think it goes back to the question of elite question asking. Okay, why am I crying in this situation? It can be a joyous situation. It can be super excited. When people win, you're crying. What does that mean? And that's easy for an easy answer, but I think there are moments throughout the course of a day that you experience different emotions, highs and lows. And I think it's important to acknowledge those things and then try to make sense out of what they mean to you, not necessarily what society tells us they mean, what they actually mean to you, and then try to find a space that allows you to be okay with what those emotions are to you. Don't allow society to define those things for you. And I think that's what, at least for me growing up, with my father and the various men that were around in my realm, I grew up in sports. And so, yeah, if you cried or if you whimpered or, oh, I'm hurt, what was coming after that. You're soft and so, yes, you restricted those feelings, and it's not in our question or conversation here. It's not a level of toughness that all of a sudden you're showing. It's a level of now you're concealing your feelings and your emotions. And so now you grow up and you wonder why you are emotionally dwarfed by that experience. You don't go into learning what it is about, and I think that's another reason why I'm so connected to you guys and why I want to get on this podcast, is because it's an opportunity to be vulnerable for me, like to allow people to see, hey man, this dude, wow, he's crazy, or you know what, he does cry, or you know what, he is pissed, or whatever it is, whatever state. I think there's a rawness and there's a level of genuineness that comes with exploring those emotions, and I'm okay with it, whatever it is. I'm 1000% okay with it. I'm cool with telling you, hey, I love you, and mean it. I don't care if it's a complete stranger. If I feel a certain type of way about them, I want them to know that I feel that way. But I want them to know if I don't like them either.
Did a pretty good job with that.
Mo, as you answer, I'm gonna throw a little slider on this pitch. D mentioned, tears of joy. We're all athletes, former athletes, around athletes, coach athletes. Why does it seem to be okay? Tears of joy are cool. We just won the championship. We just, whatever just happened in a great sense, in a good sense, those tears of joy are often celebrated or are often empathetic. But then tears of pain, tears of hurt, tears of trauma stop being soft. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm gonna get to I'm gonna get to answering that, but I think one of the greatest blessings, and you guys can appreciate this being fathers, is 2 years ago when God blessed me to be a father. And I think through a 2-year-old, he taught me that all tears are not created equal. And I always thought, crying was associated with one thing, where in that age, yeah, go ahead and shake them shoulders. Tears mean a lot of things. They have different meanings. And I think they're in our society. And if we can go deeper, go vulnerable, being Black men, it is not acceptable for us to show those tears. I think even like to your point, Jay, like, yeah, if it's sports, like it's okay. But even in some spaces, like, let's just be real. It's like, yeah, but like, why you doing all that though, bro? Like, why is it like that? And I think like the coolest thing about my relationship with you guys is we've never physically met. I've never met any of you guys physically, but I've both seen you emotional. And I thought it was incredible to see. Like, DT, you didn't even know this. This is first time on air. Like, if you have the opportunity and you're bored like me, if you type in Dedrique Taylor 100 win, like, dog, it made me want to run around in that locker room with you and be on that video. Like, when people saw your emotions to like who was on that video, like, that was real cool, man, to see that. Because I don't know if your players get to see that in you. And then Jay, obviously, just your vulnerability on our calls, like, you make it, both of you guys in your own way, make it acceptable to feel feelings. And again, I bring that question because in our society, we don't. I cried in front of our players last week, and I tell them, like, that ain't soft. Like, the soft part is me hiding it from you. The toughness is me telling you, hey, I'm not good. I'm telling you I'm not good. You can see I'm not good. But like, I'm here, I'm showing up. I'm 100% with you guys through this practice. And you couldn't watch that practice for the first time, or have you been there all year with us and see a difference in my passion and care for the guys? So yeah, I think, Jay, to hit on the second part of your question, like, it might be a little more acceptable, but it's still, well, why are you doing all that for, man? Okay, like, you couldn't have just played and just finished it, So yeah, I think it's all associated. That's my answer to it.
D, what you got, man? Throw a question at us. Come on, man. Come on. You're doing a great job answering.
Yeah, well, then I would say, what allows you to be productive and change the narrative? How do you approach that, to change the narrative, to say, to someone that we've never met, but there's various times that we will end a call and we'll say, I love you. Like, what are you doing to combat what society tells us is so-called soft, or not even society. I can honestly remember my dad saying, hey, we don't do that. And literally, to me, it's like stifled my emotional growth. So what are you doing to be productive and be aware, not for anyone else, for yourself first, and then for your kids?
Mo, you want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
D, I am a.
You serious?
Say what now?
So when you licking your lips and you put your fingers like that, I know.
That's that.
Arsenio Hall.
Hey. I am a firm believer of people, but especially kids, young people. I think I heard TD Jakes say this first. Kids will be what they see. And so I'm a huge advocate of modeling the behaviors that you deem valuable, important, things that are deeply rooted principles within you. I'm a firm believer in modeling that. So again, it ain't like I'm just walking around crying at everything, but I want my sons to be able to know that that's okay. I remember the first time I saw my father cry. It was at my grandfather's funeral.
Amen.
Come on, man. And I got, on my dad's side of the family, there are 6 boys and 1 girl. So you can already imagine what she was like, and she is still alive at 80 years old. She is, my Aunt Ruth has always been, y'all remember Della Reese from Harlem Nights? Like that's my aunt. My aunt was, kiss my ass, sugar. Like that is her. And then my uncles, you know, I uncles. And even on my mom's side, I got uncles. I got 10 uncles total, 5 and 5. And the first time I saw my dad and my uncles cry was at my grandfather's funeral. And at that time, I was 12 years old. At that time, that was the Justice League. You know what I'm saying? Like Superman crying? You know, Batman, like it was unheard of. And so for me, man, that modeling just became really, really, really important for me. Commit to the cliche, something we talk about amongst the 3 of us. Okay, cool. We got all these cliches amongst society in the athletic space. One of them being actions speak louder than words. Cool. So stop telling me and show me. You know, stop telling me what I should be doing and start showing me what I should be doing. And because again, this ain't our generation of parent, coach, and teacher, where it's do as I say, not as I do. You know, now these young people are, information is not king anymore. It was king for us because they had it and we didn't. Now, if we are rooted in information, they are typing in the answer to what you gonna say before you even get it out your mouth. So now it ain't about what you telling me, it's who you are that allows me to be able to connect with you and what you're saying. And obviously I have relationships with both of you guys and both of your teams. And I think that's a big part of the rapport of what we have, me to them and your teams, is that they rock with me. They rock with me because they see me. They see me move in directions that I talk in or that I talk about. So my actions line up with my voice. So I just think that's a huge part navigating through it.
Yeah, my answer to that, I'll be quick. I realized when I went face to face with my trauma, my space got clear, my vision got clear. You know, so most people, when bad stuff happens, they like to throw it in the back. You know, whew, glad I'm done with that. That's over. I started to realize when you put it in the front, it clears up everything going forward. And for me, instead of like trying to run away from what I saw or what I disliked or pain, I wanted to deal with it as best as I could. You know, okay, this is what I saw. This is what I went through. This is maybe what I heard, but I have a choice. I got a choice. Our power of choice is very, very high. You know, I wrote in our men's chat, I said, like, if you suck at something, like, that's really on you now. Because we got videos, apps. I mean, you name it, you got an app for everything. Even if you can't cook, you got an app for it. You know, if you don't feel like cooking, you can hit the app and the meal can come to you the next day. So it's no excuse to suck. And then I say the second part for me on your question, DT, is I just try to allow myself, and this is where you guys come in other spaces too, like I just try to allow myself to be around people that lead me to accountability. So, okay, like that's what you said you wanted to be, so what are you gonna do about it? How are you gonna respond? I realize when I'm coaching a game, I am going to be looked at differently than the person on the sideline. There's an accountability that comes with that. Doesn't mean I'm better than him, but if I want to live a certain way, if I want to influence people in a certain way, I have to respond instead of react a certain way. And yeah, that's kind of what's helped me be in that space and want to be different.
Mo, you said something I would love for you to expand on it or talk about. You intentionally use the word lead to accountability versus what we're used to saying hold you to accountability. Can you talk about what that terminology and the intentionality behind what that means to you?
Man, you and that Davis education.
Man, he sounded real intelligent. I felt like his microphone got clearer and everything. Damn.
I'm trying out for my CBS job. You know what I'm saying? When they fire me.
He's so smart. Well, I'm gonna give source and credit to the plug, man. That's Jay Wells' word, man. So shout out to him. But why I love it, why I use it, don't steal it, I use it. It's because it's brilliant, one. And two, because it all goes back to what I said I wanted to be. You know, it all goes back to me. You know, an exercise that I do with our players every year is we sit down and talk, and your job is to tell me what you want. I write those things down, put it in a file cabinet, and then once it gets really conflict driven or we had a difference in opinions, I'll bring it in my office and I'll pull that card out and say, hey, what did you say here? You see that date? And immediately you snap back into, he's not picking on me, he's leading me back to what I said I wanted to be. And why I love that is it all starts with me. It all starts with me. Where I think if I'm being held accountable, like, you know, that's general. It's not as intentional. You know, it could be, there's a lot of different ways that can be pulled in a certain direction, where leading me it's exactly what you said, you know, what you wanted to be. So shout out to Jay, man, even though he's on this call, I'm talking like he's not, but it's brilliant. I'm just attached to smart people and use as I can.
All right. As we are winding down episode 1, I knew it, man. If we'd have said a half hour, man, we'd have been so mad every episode. We at the end of the show. We start every call with fist bump moments and ignite questions. We will end every call with money moments. Money moments are your key takeaways from the call. I know I take little notes in my iPad. I know Mo, different people, we take notes. Something that stood out to you, something that maybe you heard it before and it hit different. Maybe it was your first time hearing it. What you got? Anybody? What's your money moment?
I'll jump in really quick and talk about what Mo just mentioned in terms of leading people to accountability. By leading other people to accountability, you actually lead yourself to accountability, because as we said to our team the other day, or as I said to our team, you know, when you point the finger at somebody, there's 3 pointing back at you. And so if you want to help lead that person to accountability, you got to lead yourself and hold yourself to a certain regard in that instance, and be very, very clear in terms of what it is that you want to accomplish in that space, and then work towards it with your actions, not so much your words. Work towards it with your actions.
I just immediately pulled up Gerald Levert, point the finger, man. You know, shout out to 90s R&B, shout out to Cleveland, Ohio. Gerald Levert.
I knew it had a Cleveland reference.
Hey.
You just told us to sing
this back at me.
Leave Gerald alone singing his song. You don't need to.
Yo, my money moment was, I know y'all, man. You know, we talk multiple times per week, per day sometimes. And just the simplicity of a fist bump question and an ignite question, or a fist bump moment and an ignite question, listening to First or Best concert, and just being able to be in a place where, as well as I know you guys, and even hearing those answers before, just the power of these little seemingly insignificant activities, and all of a sudden they create this space that allows you to be like D. So earlier you said, you know, we're not here to change you, we're here to create the space that allows change to happen. My expansion to that statement is now implement whatever verb you want. I'm not here to motivate you, just create the space. I'm not here to grow you, just create the space. And Mo, you said this to me a couple months back in one of our one-on-one calls. Like, Jay, man, you use the word space like nobody I know. It's that, man. How can we create this space? I was talking to one of my guys and he was telling me about jujitsu, and everything about jujitsu is about space. You're either creating space or eliminating space, which is obviously very applicable in our sport as well. But as coaches, as parents, as teachers and educators, I'm big on those three areas because those are the three areas that are highly influential in young people's lives. I feel like it's really, really, really important for us to create space that allows them to know us, which is not how we were parents at Coast and Reigns. Yeah, FaceTime. Yeah, it's real life. This is how it goes down. Yes. And you can't even hit decline. Nope.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think it's important that we create that space that allows the people that we lead and the people that are in our care to know us just as much as they feel safe to allow us to get to know them. And yeah, I feel like in this hour, as well as I know you guys, I still learn something about you. So that would be my money moment.
But you guys are so deep. Like, I'm going to say something like elementary school on what I got from this call, okay?
Which really means it's way deeper than what we
Right.
Shout out to Mo. He actually slapped you, Jay. He said, I'm going to be really quick, meaning that you were way too quick.
He said it twice. He said that earlier, too. It's all good. He had to wrap it up, but no.
This means you guys are very intelligent, man. But what I'm going to say is this, man. What I got from this call is do things that are fun. Like, do things that bring you joy. Like, on this call, or when you're doing things that are fun, you're not counting the minutes. You're like making them count. Like, the fact that you mentioned that this is an hour and I hadn't even looked at the time yet is like crazy to me. Like, the fact that before we got on this call, like, we're sitting there joking and like literally talking about nothing, but it means something. Like, this is rare to have. This space is rare to have. Like, what we're doing is rare. So yeah, I mean, what I got from this call, man, is just continue to have fun and surround yourself around people that bring you joy but challenge you, because you guys do that for me. And this was fun. I can't believe it's been an hour.
Episode 1 concluded. Fellas, we're going to talk about some stuff, man. This is for coaches, for athletes, for parents, for people that's involved in sports, not involved in sports, leaders, organizational, literally, like, yeah, we're in the athletic space, but we touching it. So stay tuned, different topics. Want to give a quick shout out. Make sure you're reaching out to us on our fan page at www.tlscradio.com. Click the like button, click the fan page. Let's get it popping. Videos will also be uploaded on the YouTube. Go there. You can listen to previous recordings as we build our collection and catalog, as well as be able to see us. Fellas, I appreciate you. We mentioned it earlier, just in typical conversation, and I'm gonna be real intentional on saying it right here, man. I love each of you. D, we have had the opportunity to meet in person. Mo, not yet. And no bullshit, bro. I love you like a brother, and I appreciate you. Appreciate each of y'all, man. Can't wait to keep this going.
Love.
All love. Love you back.